Good character matters because the choices our kids make today will impact their future. Wise choices have rewards, but poor decisions have consequences that can spoil future opportunities. So from as young of an age as possible, we want to talk to our kids about character so that they will have the best life possible. So let's dive in and talk about 3 ways we can do that, okay? The first way is the hardest part of all of this, and it's modeling. We need to model good character for our kids. Now, most of us know this, but if you think about it on a daily basis, what are some of the things you do to model good character to your kids? Maybe what are some areas we could all improve on? Think about things like if you tell your kids not to speak poorly of other people, but maybe they hear you gossiping. The truth is they're most likely to do what you do, not what you say. If you tell your kids to guard their eyes and to not watch inappropriate things on the internet or on TV, but they know that when they go to bed, you're binging on Netflix or watching a program that you wouldn't be too proud of. I know my husband and I have walked out of theaters or turned off a Netflix show when we realized that we wouldn't want to tell our kids what we had seen. And that was a conviction that, the way we saw it was, it just made us make a good choice for ourselves too. It's not just about the kids. This was actually better for us. So it was really a win-win. But if our kids' accountability can inspire us, all the better. So we can think about our friendships, about our work, about choices we make. Are we modeling good character for our kids? 1 Corinthians 11:1, Paul says, follow me as I follow Christ. And I know that's a tough one, but that could be our goal. Can we say to our kids, if you live like I do, you're going to have a good life. You're going to have a righteous life. That should be what we're striving for. And though none of us will ever get it perfect, I think it's a great goal. Now, in those areas that you think about your life right now and you're like, maybe I've kind of blown it. I haven't set a great example. I haven't been modeling well. I'm going to encourage you to first go to God and ask forgiveness. Just talk to him about it, confess your sins, and he promises to forgive you and cleanse you from all unrighteousness. But then go to your kids too and own it. Your kids are smart. They already know when you're making mistakes. So when you go to them and ask forgiveness and own up to things, they're going to grow more respect for you. Also, you're setting a great example to them because when they blow it in life, which we know they will do, they're going to think back to how you handled it when you realized that there's a change you needed to make. And then what you want to do is walk out whatever you've decided you want to work on. Show them. Them seeing you make changes is going to inspire them to make changes too. So model character for your kids. Own up to the areas that maybe you need to change and then walk it out and let them see you. And that may be the very best example of all. So first, model. Second, we have to teach our kids character. I know that sounds so obvious, but oftentimes we expect our kids to just grow up knowing right and wrong, and we end up disciplining them or correcting them when they're doing things wrong that maybe we never even taught them the right way. You think about it, a toddler doesn't need to be taught to throw a fit or to scream, mine, mine, or no. But we do need to teach our kids how to have good manners, how to speak politely. And so take some time to walk your kids through what good manners is, what it looks like to have good character. One of my favorite ways of doing this when kids are young is just to focus on character words, I call them. Instead of saying, you're being a slob, clean up your room, use a word for that. Say, let's try to be responsible and keep our room tidy. And you can use that word responsible throughout the week. Maybe focus on one character quality a week. And you can say, oh, I saw you were being responsible with this or with that. Thank you for being responsible. Now you're using that word. And if they're being irresponsible, you can use it that way too to correct them. Focusing on character words is going to help them grow up aware and just appreciating what good character looks like. Another way that we can do this is to prepare our kids for situations that sometimes catch them off guard. I always think of the grocery store, right? When we just load our kids up, bring 1, 2, 5 kids to the grocery store, stick them in a cart, and expect them to behave well, that is totally unfair, right? First of all, they are overloaded with stimulus, and if they didn't know they were coming, they might be surprised, they might be tired, and now they're being impatient, they're grabbing for things, asking for things, and we're losing our mind. But one way we can avoid this is to prepare them before we go. Before you leave the house, talk to them about going to the grocery store, what it's going to look like, what the expectations are. You can even play grocery store, do some role modeling at home. 10 minutes of this could make a world of difference. Talk to them about being patient, about being self-controlled. Then when you get there, first of all, they're not surprised. And next, they're going to know what you expected because you already practiced it at home. Hopefully there's a reward at the end of that shopping trip if they do well, right? Now, as your kids grow up and get a little bit older, this is just as important that you talk about character. You want to tell your tweens and teens that character is important across the board in every area of life. If they want to do well in school, they need character qualities like hard work and diligence. If they want to have good relationships, they need good character. If they want to do well in sports, oh my goodness, character is huge. In fact, if your kids aren't doing sports, I encourage you to get them into sports, because sports are a great way to develop character. But you can let your kids know that in all areas of life, character will help them do better. If they want to get a job while they're growing up, or even one day hope to have a career, character is the key. I love that Warren Buffett said, in looking for people to hire, you look for 3 qualities: integrity, intelligence, and energy. And if they don't have the first, the other 2 will kill you. I love that Warren Buffett hires people based on integrity. We can tell our kids that. In fact, in the culture we're raising our kids in with so little character, if they can just show up on time, be respectful, treat people well, be a team player, they are going to rise up, be likely to be promoted, and to have better career opportunities down the road. Speaking of all that, hopefully your kids are doing some chores at home, maybe some yard work, helping out in the house. Set high standards. Give your kids a high standard to rise up to, and make sure to give consequences when they don't rise up to it. I'm afraid that when we don't do that in the home, then our kids go out into the real world and they're surprised one day by bosses who actually expect them to do things with excellence. So you're not doing your kids any favors if you let them slack off at home. Be sure to have your kids working, praise them for their good work, but also set those standards high. So first, we got to model. Second, we need to teach and train. And third, my favorite thing to talk about is we need to inspire character in our kids. I love that James Lehman said, frankly, you can't make a child care. Let's be honest, the old saying, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, is true. But understand that while we can't make our kids drink, we can certainly try to make them thirsty. How can we make our kids thirsty for good character? I love to try to inspire my kids, to show them examples and role models of people who embrace good character. When they're young, you can do this through stories, through movies. The Bible is packed with great examples of people who modeled great character, and quite a few who didn't. But the key here is after you read, after you watch a movie, discuss these characters. Discuss what the character qualities are that they represent, or the ones that they blew it in. I think of Daniel and his friends when they were in exile, and they had such great character compared to the world around them, compared to the culture they were in, and God rewarded them. I think of Joseph's entire life story, going from one challenge to another, but he always remained full of integrity, and at the end of his life, he was rewarded. Now, our kids can use these stories to inspire them, and you can continue as they grow up to find books and good examples. Of course, I'm going to give you the download with the 40 character-inspiring books, movies, Bible verses, and quotes. But there's so many resources we can get our hands on, and they can be like living examples, showing our kids what it looks like to have great character. Now, the people in our kids' lives are going to be really important. We become like the company we keep. Sometimes kids are going to want to argue with that, but don't let them. 1 Corinthians 15:33 says, bad company corrupts good morals. There is no doubt about that. And way back in Proverbs, King Solomon says, whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but a companion of fools will suffer harm. There is no doubt this is wisdom. And speaking of that, Proverbs, great way to teach your kids character qualities. Have them reading Proverbs every day if possible. But we need to really be diligent to guard our kids' hearts in the area of the influences in their lives, the friends that they spend time with. Now, I know our kids will have and should have lots of friends. Maybe they go to school with friends, or they're on a sports team, or go to youth group with people. That's all great. But the people they really spend that one-on-one closer time with, maybe on weekends or after school, you want to be sure that those are good influences, people that will shape your kids well. I remember when my boys were little, a friend used to say, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And it's so absolutely true. Looking back, I see how that played out. So be careful, and then coach your kids too on how they can choose good friends going forward. Show them what it looks like to choose friends who will help make them better people.